And yes, hashtag fuck cancer. So hi, I'm so excited to be here. I'm gonna probably ask you guys a few questions. I always hate that speaker who's like, raise your hand and blah blah blah, but I'm totally that speaker, so too bad. So I just want to before I get started, I want to get a good idea, sort of what your backgrounds are and where you're coming from. So I'm curious, how many of you consider yourself more SEOs than anything else? All right. What about like social, even on the community side a bit? Any? We got a few, awesome. And then you have like paid marketers and there's a bunch of you guys also. Okay, excellent. Well, it's just kind of good to know to get a feel. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And thank you, Josh, that was a really, really sweet introduction. And I thank you for cussing on Twitter. So how many of you guys think that community is just this buzzword that you hear all the time? Like, ooh, we gotta care about community. Community's a thing, right? It's like, yada, yada, yada. Well, you know what? They're actually right. I hate to tell you. But it's actually a really important, exciting thing that can help you. It's going to make all your marketing easier, and I'm going to show you exactly what that means. Sorry, there's like a random string up there. Just like, so I want to talk to you about why you should care about community, specifically as marketers. What caring and building and getting a community can actually do for your business and for your marketing. Because you want to make your job easier, right? Right? Thank you. You can answer. I might cuss at you, but you can answer. So I want to talk about the various ways, right? So who is your community and what are they doing? Well, first of all, they're searching for you. Thank you. That is extremely helpful. So they're the ones that are searching for you, right? They're the ones who are looking. So when it comes to SEO, we want to make it clear, we want to make it easy to find us, right? At MOZ. We want everybody to find us if they're looking for SEO help, SEO education, SEO tools, like all these things, right? So SEO is important for actually getting that community there. They're looking for you. But they're not just looking for you on Google. They're looking for you on, right? Like YouTube is the 3rd largest search engine or something crazy like that. But this is Facebook, right? So in the previous one, I'm looking at, I can't see that far. Independent, I knew it was a word, anyway. Independent bookstores, right? Somebody who's looking for independent bookstores is probably someone who is going to, no matter what city they live in, no matter what city they go to, they're probably looking for a specific type, right? They're looking for something that they can sort of call home. And the same thing here. This is on Facebook. Somebody's searching for specifically bookstores that people that I know have liked. Like that's powerful. That's how people find you. They're also your customers. They're the people who are paying you money. They're paying you money and they're reaching out to you to say, I love your product, I hate your product. I have questions about your product. Why do you do your services this way? That sort of thing. They're the people who are paying for you, or paying you. I guess paying for you at the same time. And they're the ones that review you, right? So, and by giving a review, the next person who comes and sees that review is going to see whether they've said positive or negative things. By the way, this place, I don't know if it's really as awesome as it sounds, but coming from Seattle, the first thing I did was search coffee. And I was like, I've got to find this place because everybody seems to love it. Is it true? Is it really? Oh, awesome. Well, their reviews say it all. They're the ones who are sharing, right? They're actually sharing your stuff. So think about MOZ. So this is, this up here, this is Betty Crocker. Who doesn't want to have some of that right now, right? That looks awesome. But as you can see, it has 6.3 thousand likes on Facebook. Okay, not so bad, right? But Pinterest, over 10,000 pins on Pinterest. Yeah, I would pin the hell out of that because I have a thing that's like food I can actually make that I pin stuff to. Because I refuse to pin things that I can't make, which is like 95% of the stuff out there. But this is stuff that you can actually make, right? But these are the people. Your community isn't necessarily just the people who are calling you every day or going on your forum. They're the people who are sharing your stuff. They're also the people who are linking to you, right? They're the ones, like, you know that whole link building thing that you guys are always doing? You know what? If you build a community, they do that shit for you. How many of you have ever linked to MOZ? Or SEO MOZ? Thank you. And with the reviews and everything else, they tell your friends about you. Now, how many of you here know Julep? Possibly, okay. In Seattle, if I were to ask that same question, every female in the room would be like, ooh. Women in Seattle are crazy for Julep. I have literally had people that I've talked to who have said to me, I will never buy another type of nail polish. It's like, it's a nail polish. Why would you? Like, I can go to, you know, Kmart, or does Kmart still exist? I don't know. Can go somewhere and buy like a $2 thing of nail polish, but no, people would rather spend their money on like a $15 bottle of Julep, because Julep shows people that they care, they do all these things for their customers. And also one of the things that they do, you can sign up and you get a monthly package, and they pick the right colors just for you. So anyway, kind of like the new shoe things, like Shoe Devil and all those places, but they do it. So anyway, tip. They're the ones that stick around when you fail. I don't know how many of you guys might actually be MOZ members, but last year we had several months where pretty much everything was just broken. And it felt like forever. For us, it was just like, oh my God, when are things gonna be fixed? And that's pretty much how like you guys felt too, right? So we had this great team. I mean, we have lots of people saying, we understand, thank you for letting us know what's happening. We did have people leave, but to be honest, we didn't actually have that much churn. We didn't have that many people more leave. And we had this great group, I forget exactly where they're out of, but they put together these little notes that were like, it essentially is like, it's okay, we still love you, please fix your stuff, like now. And we took that to be like, man, even our community, like, they're even pulling for us. They're like, come on, we want you to survive and make this happen. So it's a big thing when they're the ones, the community members will stick around even when you're sucking it. So for us, let's say at MOZ, everyone says to me often, they're like, yeah, but you're MOZ, so you can do all these things. Is it just me, or is there like a weird noise?
If you get too close to the bars, Jen,
The what? The
pose.
Should I go further?
The pose.
This way?
Yeah, you're good.
I learned this in school once. Actually, my daughter's learning dance. She has a dance class that she goes to, and she comes home and like teaches me all these things all the time. It's a lot of fun. Building community makes everything so much easier. Getting your content shared, getting links to your site, doing all the things that you're working so hard every day to do, having that community there to actually lift all of that up and push it out even more makes life so much easier. So who wants to actually see how you make that happen? Thank you, Jen. So it's really funny because everybody has this like, oh, okay, community is just it's a bunch of fluffy stuff, right? Like you talk to people, be human, be nice to people, respond like a real person. Well, we don't actually do that. We respond like a robot, which is lots of fun. How many of you guys have ever gotten a response from MOZ on Twitter? Right? Actually, they're gonna kill me, but you guys should send a tweet to MOZ and see how fast of a response you get. And I'm hoping, let's see, what time is it? 4:35, oh, it's 5. They might be leaving, so anyway. I'll not kill anyone if they don't answer. But I want to talk through the steps. Like, the first thing that you want to do when building a community, you don't want to have a community just because it makes things easier. That's a really awesome benefit. But you want to actually make it work directly with your goals. So this is a slide from our all hands meeting from 3 or 4 months ago. And the URL there, Rand actually put it on his blog post, because if you guys ever follow him on his blog, he pretty much tells everything all the time on his blog. Like, you can get our financials, you can get all kinds of like crazy information about us there. So we have these 5 strategic initiatives, right? So what I'm going to focus on is number 3 here. This is essentially like, we want to reach a broader market. So we changed our name to MOZ because we don't want to only focus on SEO. We want to focus on SEO plus. And so in order to do that, we have to reach a greater audience. So what are some of the ways that community can actually help reach that goal? So there are various ways. We can make sure that we can work on increasing newsletter signups. We can increase community engagement. There are lots of specific things that we can do. But through this presentation, I'm going to focus on this one. Increasing community engagement on Google+. So how many of you guys have ever used Google+? Excellent. How many of you guys actually actively are on Google+? A little less, but more than normal. Usually if I ask anybody about Google+, they're like, I saw it once, I got an alert. So that's exciting. I'm glad to hear that you guys are using it. It makes sense though, because for us, our community, which are essentially you guys, are on Google+. It's like Googlers and you guys, right? The SEO or the online marketing community is huge there. So I'm going to use this as an example of one of the things that we're going to do in order to build that community and broaden our reach. So again, the goal is to increase community engagement. Why? Because it maps directly back to our overall strategic goal of increasing awareness of inbound marketing and bringing new people in. So then we thought about, okay, what are the ways that we're actually going to do this? Okay, so we're going to not just post about MOZ, we're going to have hangouts, we're going to do these open-ended questions, we're going to think about SEO, because we all know Google Plus is really great for SEO as well, right? So these are some of the ideas that we have to do it, and we made sure that we told everybody in the company about it. So we had, every Thursday, we have lunch brought in, which is really cool, and then we have a lunch and learn. And by the random side note, we can't call them brown bag anymore, because in Seattle, I don't know, you can look it up. The word brown bag was like banned in Seattle. Crazy lefties. Sorry, I am one, but anyway. And then I was talking about, so we have these lunch and learns, where we actually, like, somebody from the organization talks about, sometimes we talk about work, sometimes we talk about how to make the ideal peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like the various things that we make. But what we did is we went to our team and said, this is what we're going to do on the community team to help raise awareness of inbound marketing and all these things. Specifically on Google+, these are the things we're going to do. It's really, really important to make sure that everybody knows, because when it comes to community, it's not just your community team or your community person, it's actually everybody in the organization's job to help ensure that things are happening. This is the big one, is actually make it somebody's job. Whether you hire someone internally or externally, this is a good blog post on like what to look for in a community manager. But I can't stress enough that if you're looking to build community and you're looking to say, these are the reasons why we're doing it, you have to have somebody actually in charge. Now, they're not going to be the only person to do all the things, but they have to be able to make decisions quickly, and they have to have the power to make those happen, right? They have to be empowered that if somebody sends them a tweet and is pissed off, that you can make something happen. That you can respond quickly and say, I see you have a ticket already submitted, let me jump in and help you out, or kind of whatever the case may be, right? They have to be empowered to actually reach those goals. And then you have to give them the means to take action, whether that's the tools, whether that's the company backing you up, whatever the case may be. You have to actually make sure that they can, help them do that. And for us, we have something that we've started called Community College, which hilarious, right? So Megan Singley is actually on our team. She's probably the one, if anybody's like tweeting and has responded, it's probably Megan. She's actually from Minnesota. She told me she was going to tweet how awesome Minnesota was the entire time, so okay. So making it a thing. She came up with the name Community College. And what we have is we have people from around the organization who come and sit with us. And we have like a training course. We make people tweet, and they get really scared because we have like 250,000 followers. And so they sit down to tweet something, like to respond to somebody, and they're just like, oh God, what do I say? And we make them like come up with the right thing to say and stuff so that people feel comfortable knowing how to do that and jumping in when they can. Okay, so you have some goals set, you have somebody who's going to do it, and what are some of the ways to find out sort of where your people are, what they're talking about and such. So I'm going to get into some of the specific things that you can use. How many of you guys have used Followerwonk? More of you should use Followerwonk. It is a MOZ tool. I should be sure to say that. What Followerwonk was initially known for, we've added a lot of features to it, but you can do a bio search. So you can specifically search for people, like this one is blogger in Minneapolis. And it shows the people right now, I think it's looking at the top followers, but you can also look by social authority and various things. And you can get this is what people are saying about themselves, right? Not what they're talking about on Twitter, not what they're tweeting, but what they say about themselves. Like, I think in my bio I say, I don't know, like I'm a geek, I love cupcakes, and grumpy cat is my spirit animal or something. So you can't find me very much in these searches because I don't put a lot of stuff in there, but it's key to have that information in there, right? How many of you actually say that you're an SEO? Or that you work for a specific organization, right? Or that you're a foodie, or that you love chocolate chip cookies or something like that, right? We put those things in our bios. And this is a really great way to find those people, find the people who say they are the type of person that you're looking for. And then from there, you can actually like dig in and you can get a bit more information. You can find out what's their engagement like? Do they talk to people? Do they just have a bunch of followers because they're somebody famous? Or do they actually reach out and do things? And you can download all the information from there. So the fun thing is, you can actually go in and once you get all the data, you can sort it however you want to. You can put them into a spreadsheet, you can stock them even more, figure out what they like, look at what they're looking at on Pinterest, all that good stuff. And then Twitter actually, this Twitter search used to suck really bad because it only went back like several days. But now Twitter search is getting a little bit better, right? And the fun thing is you can actually do a search and then look at the people. So this is showing the people for the community manager hashtag. So it's not just seeing what people are talking about and looking at that hashtag, but looking at who are the people that Twitter thinks are the authorities on this hashtag. And these are honestly some of the big people in the community manager community, which is always weird to say. And Google Plus search. Again, how many of you guys have actually ever searched for something in Google Plus? Ah, that's good. If I ever ask that question, even if I've asked like coworkers, they're like, oh, I'm searching there. But you know what? It's Google, right? They're like indexing all the things. They can quickly find the people who are talking about certain things, who are writing about certain things, and you can search various ways for them. So Google search is a really great way to find people. And then Google Plus ripples. I love ripples. You guys know what the Google Plus ripples are? So any post or any piece of content that gets shared publicly, you can actually get these ripples and you can see who the authorities are. Who are the people who are sharing it and then get reshared off of that. Those are the people that you want to sort of reach out and target. Pinterest, I sort of just wanted to make sure that I got like some awesome cupcakes. cupcakes in there. But so that's Pinterest. If you ever go to Seattle, Cupcake Royale, you gotta go there. It's my favorite. They should pay me to say this, but they don't, unfortunately. But Pinterest is a great way. So all I did was I did a search for Cupcake Royale, which is this place in Seattle, and all of these people are pinning all the pictures of Cupcake Royale. And for a very long time, Cupcake Royale was not on Pinterest. It was like, people, what are you doing? They're pinning your stuff all the time. You need to be there because that's where their people were. They finally got on, and now they're actually quite active, and they do a really great job. But what you can also do is, remember that I mentioned that before, you get that list of people who are talking about being a foodie or being loving cupcakes and are in Seattle, that sort of thing. You can actually look them up on Pinterest and find out what they're pinning. You can actually see, like she specifically has packaging ideas, need a new website, stuff I want to make. So you can kind of figure out, you know, the type of person your community members are. How many of you guys use Rapportive? So it's a plug-in to Google, to Gmail. There's also, you use Outlook, Zobni, it's inbox, spelled backwards, see? But what's really cool is you can like super stalk people. So you get their list, you go into Gmail and you put in somebody's email address and it shows you like all their business. It's like Josh, I know where to find him everywhere. And Quora. Do you guys spend any time in Quora? People ask crazy questions. They're probably talking about your businesses. The things that people ask about MOZ or SEO MOZ, people will ask things like, what was one of them? Is the MOZ Q&A system homegrown, or do they buy a system? It's like, why would you ask that on Quora? Why wouldn't you tweet that to us? Or ask on our forum, or something like that. But no, they didn't do that. They put it on Quora. And so we searched for it and found it. And we have a search constantly for MOZ or SEO MOZ. And the same thing, so this is a question that Rand has answered. And I love using Quora to, again, stalk people from before. I'm going to make sure Josh saw that.
I need to update my Quora profile.
Yeah, you need to make sure. You need to make sure everything's up to date, because I'm stalking you. Anytime you email me, I'm double checking where you're at and what you're doing. So if you do that, you can get somebody's Quora, and you go look and see the kind of things that they're actually asking, the things that they're talking about, right? All right, so we've kind of like found the people, we know what they like, we know what they talked about, you got your stalking skills down, you've got the person doing it. So what are the actual things that you can do? Who remembers this guy?
Yes.
Yeah. He's not just the hair club for men president, he's also a member. Poor guy, right? Same thing. It's like the person who's managing your community needs to actually be a part of the community. For me, it's worked out really well because I happen to really love our community. My background is web development and SEO. That's how I got into it. How I went from a web developer to like doing what I do now, I have no idea. My past coworkers make a lot of fun of me, but that's okay. That's where my cussing came from. That's from my dev days. But it's really important to actually care and be a part of that community, because if you're trying to manage a community of I'm trying to think, what's the sports? I don't know, I'm so bad at sports. Some sports fake thing. What do you call that?
Fantasy football.
Sorry. Let's say you're managing like a fantasy football community or something. You have to obviously love fantasy football. You don't want me doing it because I don't even know what the hell it's called, right? So like you want somebody doing that who actually wants to participate and be a part of that community. And Buffer, do you guys know Buffer? Everybody know Buffer? Buffer got hacked. right? It was like a few weeks ago, they got hacked, and right away they were like, oh my gosh, we've been hacked, here's the information. They were upfront about everything. And yes, there were some people who were upset about it, but to be perfectly honest, everything that I've seen since, essentially people love them even more. People who didn't even use them before are like, I will use you now because I see how open and transparent you were about this situation. So being open is really big. It's something at MoZ, again, I said, Rand in his personal blog, he talks about all kinds of stuff going on at MoZ. He'll talk about he has these office hour meetings, and sometimes in these meetings he'll the next day there will be a blog post about something that was discussed in that meeting, and it's a group meeting, so it's not like personal one-on-one or anything. And so we're really open about making sure, when we're screwing up, you'll see in our Twitter feed sorry this is down, let us know what's going on. Being open and telling people what's up is always key. And then you can actually take it offline. So this is a fun one. I've actually had it happen to me several times where other people have sent me things. But this was a fun one where we had a whiteboard Friday where Ruth Burr talked a lot about cookies. She was using cookies as an example of something. And she, for 10 minutes was like cookies and chocolate chip cookies and cookies with chocolates and, just kept talking about cookies. And this guy was like, you're killing me with the cookies, now I want some. And so Megan decided, well, let's send the guy some cookies. And if you go check out this Vine, it is phenomenal because she sent him these cookies from a local place. And he took a Vine of it going, nom, 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 nom. It actually sounds like that, nom, nom. Vine over and over. Mm-hmm. You can't watch it. You have to watch it 20 times, oh my God, he's eating a cookie. Hilarious. But it's awesome to take those things offline, to take them outside of that world. Because when you get even a little thank you note that says, thank you for participating in this, your comment today on the blog was amazing. I got one of those once. It was like, what? You paid attention to that stuff? That's crazy. It makes a huge, huge impact on people. And you have to really be consistent. So this is MoZ. This is the SEO MoZ Twitter account back in May 2009. As you see, we have about 4,000 followers. And if you read what we say there, I can guarantee we would probably post something very similar still today. The voice has been consistent. But we consistently tweet similar types of things. We're consistent in our voice. It used to just be me. And now we have a team of 4 full-time and 2 part-time people who help with social, who help with various things in the community. And so we have to keep a similar voice, so we have to find that consistency. So take a look at us now. We have a whole bunch more followers. And this is last month's even, so it's grown a bit. It's November. I was all... I haven't even had anything to drink yet. Imagine what this is going to be like after I drink. So being consistent is key. That was my point. And being consistent on all the channels. So if you decide that you're going to start a blog, and you decide that you're going to blog consistently, whether that's once a week, but whatever that is, you have to keep it up. So this is, Rand started the SEO MoZ blog in 2004. By August of 2005, he had already created 518 blog posts. That's crazy. That is also why he is an amazing blogger, right? Because the more you do something, the better you get at it. If you read his early blog posts, don't tell him I said that, but actually he knows. He knows. He had to work at it to get better and better, and part of that was he said to himself that he is going to consistently keep those blog posts going, and they get better and better over time, and they started to spread out more, and he got other people to help write. So now when you come to the MoZ blog, it's not just one person writing all the time, because we found that spreading the love helps that, and it helps us to be consistent though. And then butter. I might be hungry too. So Buffer, I've talked about it previously, but what I like about Buffer is it's a really quick and easy way. So there's tons of tools out there to help you manage stuff. But Buffer is a really quick and easy way to get that out there and also help that you can review your analytics. One thing that we do that I try to say a lot is like something that you can do is take the content that your community members are creating and do something with it. So that's what we do at the MoZ Top 10 is we are constantly looking out in the greater like online community, like what are people writing about? And we put that, we don't put our stuff in here, well sometimes I think we do. But for the most part, we're like, what are you guys writing about that is super awesome? And we tell people, and we have like over 10,000 emails on this list, just from over time, people have been reading it. And then we get great things like this. So you give to them, they give back to you. This is, this is what it looks like when you get on the SEO MoZ Top 10. It's like traffic through the roof, right? So giving back to them is always key. And you really want to talk about what they care about. This is a fun one, but my favorite is you really want to talk about what they love. Can you read that? Can you say that? Cracks me up. Every time I was one of those people that was like, oh, retweet, oh, that's good. And that's that initial stuff of like finding what your community is talking about, what they care about, what they pin, all that stuff. That helps you to know what the things are that you should tweet about or that you should blog about or that you should, whatever it is, whatever channel that you're specifically working in, what you want to do. And now I want to get into, this will be more sort of the sciencey side of it, is measuring the things. Because how many times have you ever heard someone say, well, you can't really measure community. You can't measure, or like, what's the ROI of community, right? Any of you guys said that? With like this, or like, hopefully you haven't. So I want to show you how we at MoZ measure community and measure our growth and that sort of thing. So remember back when I talked about increasing engagement on Google Plus by 10%. So this is one thing we had to figure out was, well, what are our KPIs? What do we actually care about? What's going to get us to that number? And we have three main things that we care about. And those are the conversation rate, amplification rate, and applause rate. We use that across the board for all of our social channels. We use it for webinars, we use it for the blog, we use it for Q&A. And essentially what that means is, so you have, bless you, you have a certain amount of posts, let's say, so this is Google+, so we're looking at how many posts, this is a week, looking at how many posts we've done in a week. Does this have a little, okay. These are our posts. So this is our initial baseline. We got 63 comments that week, 180 shares, 604 pluses. So that's how we get the conversation rate is comments, amplification rate is reshares, and applause rate is pluses. But you can use that for Facebook. Facebook is just likes instead of pluses, right? You can use it for Twitter because it's favorites, and it's retweets, and it's replies. So it's the same thing, those three things over and over, and we look at that on a weekly basis. So this is our spreadsheet that we specifically use. And so you'll see that we have our specific baseline, we have our goal, and then we can see on a weekly basis where we're at and how we're actually performing that at that point in time. So let me talk about how we actually get there. So we capture our numbers weekly. So every Monday, someone on our team goes into True Social Metrics and actually captures all this information and puts it in there so that we always have something over time that we can come back and look at like this. So how does this actually look on a month-to-month basis? So it actually doesn't look super great because it would be really awesome if it went like this, because that's what we're going for. Remember, it's like we're using Google+. But things happen, tools break and stuff, and we work on other things. But this is what we do. This is how we will track it. And I thought I had a thing in here, True Social Metrics. I wanted to quickly just plug True Social Metrics. So these guys built this tool based off of a blog post from Avinash. Because do you guys know who Avinash is? Avinash Kaushik? So he wrote this blog post about these, the applause rate and such, and these guys were like, there's not a tool that does this, so we're gonna just build this tool, which is really amazing. And so they have a free version, they have a paid version as well, and you're able to get all this information really quickly. We also take a look at how individual posts do, so that we can test and see okay, this is working for us, this is not working for us. This one with an image works much better than that. But overall, what we're looking at for our growth and our engagement numbers is we're looking at the weekly trends. So this is actually what it looks like when you log into True Social Metrics, and then you can click through to the analytics and you get a bunch more information. It's actually quite robust for actually being so simple, and it's really simple, right? It's like you count the posts, and you count the shares, and then you divide that, or one of those things. Sorry, I swear I haven't had any alcohol, and I'm feeling a little giddy. So what about testing some of these things, right? The metrics around how do you figure out what is actually getting you the best engagement? So there's this really cool tool out there called, oh no, this is Insights. So Facebook Insights has actually gotten better over time, because how many, you used to you go to Insights and you're like, ooh, pretty, I don't know what that means or how it will help me do anything. But they're starting to, try to get a little bit better. So this is actually showing which type of posts get the most reach versus which ones get the most engagement. And if our focus is engagement, do we go with what gets most engagement, and do we go with what gets most reach? But then here's a different one. So this is something where this is the other tool. It used to be called Page Lever. They changed the name of it. Sorry, it's Unified, I think. So what I liked about this is, so this was earlier in the year. We were looking at Page Lever, Unified. I forget what it's called. Sorry. Look up Page Lever. They'll get you to the right place. So we were trying to figure out the same thing, engagement-wise. What is doing better than the other things? And obviously, it shows we were posting a lot more links, right? But photos were the ones that got the most engagement. So we were like, maybe we should post more photos and increase our engagement. And so this is what it looks like now, where we started posting a lot more images, and we're obviously doing a lot better, and our engagement in Facebook has skyrocketed. Well, it did until the point where they started messing with things again, and now we're kind of back down because they want you to pay them, to actually get into people's feeds that already like you, because that's what they do. And what about Twitter? So there are various ways. This is a tool that we use. We like to see what gets the most retweets, the specific posts that get the most retweets. And we use a tool, it used to be called Co-Tweet. Back in the day, we still call it Co-Tweet, although it's not. It's called Social Engage now. And they have really great analytics. This is a paid tool, but they have great post analytics. This one also gives you information on response rate and response time and things like that, which we use to help us with our customer service team. So we help with a lot of customer service stuff when we work with them. And then this is Sprout Social. So this is another way to see your reach, which is very interesting because a lot of tools don't do that. Buffer does that, and Sprout Social does a good job. And then, have any of you guys ever used Simply Measured? Awesome. So I would highly recommend. They have tons of free tools. So you can check out their free tools first, and then dig in if you wanted to check out even more. But they have stuff on Google+, on Instagram, on a lot of these tools that don't have a lot of analytics packages. And you get these really awesome reports. And it's not just, so you can get the data behind it, but you can also get great reports like this that you can spread around, and you can see here that they're what are the ones that are doing best for me? and that sort of thing. Get tons of data there. And then what about some of the negatives, right? Like also in Followerwonk, another thing that you can get is you can track over time when people are liking you and not liking you. And so like this one, clicked here, is like, what? Why don't they like us? It's very sad. Well, one thing to note is when you usually get a huge spike like that, oftentimes it's Twitter cleaning up spam. But I've also done it on my personal account, so you can go in and look. And you're like, oh, how did I get, like 25 people unfollowed me that day? And look, it's like your coworkers or something. But it's a great thing to look at because you can go back and say, what the heck happened on that day? Like what was I doing that made people leave? And the other nice thing is, again, you actually can click on that and it pops up and it shows you who those people are. So again, it can be a little sad if it's people that you like or that you know. But it's also really interesting to see. You can also quickly see like, oh, it's a bunch of spammers, or oh, these people at our conference were like following us, or that sort of thing. It's really good to look at, like why people are disliking you. And then on Facebook as well. So you can go in and you can see when people unlike you or dislike you or whatever they call it on Facebook. So this is what happened. It's like, well, what happened there? So I went and looked at the actual posts that day. And that particular day, we normally do probably 2 posts on Facebook. And that particular day, we had quite a bit more. And so we had a conversation of, okay, so we're going to test for a certain amount of time of only having no more than 3 posts per day. And then we're going to do one day with like 6 or 7 and see if we get that loss again, so that we sort of know, like, let's not do that anymore. The next thing I want to talk about is we've already been talking about how to measure some of the things, but what about testing? Like testing all the things. What's the best time to tweet, for example? So again, in Followerwonk, I know I keep talking about Followerwonk, but it's really awesome. It is, again, our tool, but I loved it before it was our tool. So the cool thing is you can see when your followers, when the best time would be to tweet, based on when your followers are most active. So this is for MOZ. So we have 2 tweets. So every morning, there's a new blog post. And we set up 2 tweets. There are usually 3 or 4 total, but there are at least 2 tweets every morning. One happens at that time, and then the next one happens. And we try to focus on when like our people are ramping up and when they're getting online. The other thing is you can connect directly with Buffer. So like let's say you're in your personal account, and so for me, I use Buffer on my personal account. So I log in here, I look at my personal account, click send to Buffer, and it automatically sets the buffer times in Buffer as to what the best times to tweet are as to when people are around. It's pretty awesome. And you can also see when you tweet as opposed to when your people are tweeting. So this is when MOZ's followers are tweeting, and this is when we tweet. There's a slight difference, right? Like we're sleeping here, we're tweeting, tweeting here. So we do have someone on the East Coast who actually runs all of our social stuff in the morning starting at 7:30 East Coast time. So we do have somebody actually jumping in there and doing all that stuff for us, which is really nice, or else, it would be noon East Coast time when we're like slowly strolling into work, because we're on the West Coast. We're laid back, We don't do things very quickly. Not like the East Coast, I should say. So we do have someone that starts tweeting for us, but it's really good to know, like, how are you tweeting compared to when your people are around? And did you know that you can actually get analytics in Twitter without being an advertiser? Okay, so every person has Twitter analytics set up, but you have to actually, so you go to the section where you would actually do your ads. So you log in as if you're an advertiser. You don't have to be an advertiser, but they do have an analytics section in there. And at bare minimum, if you don't have the money to look at other tools, or you just want to start the very basic, you can at least start there. And then what about posting to Facebook? This one always cracks me up because it's like, these are the best times to post to Facebook. Or no, this is when your fans will see your stuff and it's like, they're all the same. How does that help me? So this is a little more helpful, right? This tells you like, oh, there's a nice bump at about 9 a.m., a little before that. And so, you can jump in and get a little bit more there. Like I said, Facebook is working a lot harder to try to get actual pertinent, helpful information in their insights. Slowly but surely they will get there. Hopefully Twitter someday will also have that. It is PageLover and Unified. So PageLover now is really cool because Facebook Insights normally doesn't show you anything that's happening until like 2 days later, I think. So this will actually show you, PageLover now will show you what's happening right now, and it'll show you like the exact trends. So you can kind of see, like we tweet, or when we post something here. So we post something here, but the ones that always get the most action are the ones that happen at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. our time. And Simply Measured also does this, right? It's showing us like when the best time to tweet is, what the best time. So when you get these free reports from Simply Measured, you get information about this as well. And also blog posts. So we used to publish our blog posts we used to publish them around midnight. And then we decided one day, like, we should publish them later. I don't know why we decided that, but we decided to do that. So we decided that, like, oh, we're just gonna post all our posts like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. What we noticed is that our commenting went way down because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon in London, and we have a huge international community, and they're waiting until half their day's over before they come and comment, and so they're like, forget it. Whereas most people we find will come to the site, one of the first parts of their day, so part of their morning ritual is to come read the new blog post, and so we screwed that up by changing it. And so we had to revert back. We're now back to, in September, we went back to publishing around midnight. And again, our numbers started going back up again. And Bitly. So Bitly is a great way. Obviously, you can also check using Google Analytics, like what is sending you traffic and whatnot. But we use a customized Bitly shortener. And I love it because you can get specifics about click-through rates and things like that. So you can test what's actually getting you clicks, when it's getting you clicks, and helps you, again, figure out when you should be sharing these things. So I'm a huge, I really hate the studies that are like, studies show that most people engage on Facebook between 6 and 8 p.m. on Saturday. It's like, perhaps overall, but you guys, you don't do that. Like, our community on the weekends is dead. So it's like all week you guys are like on there, on Facebook, on Twitter, doing all the things. The weekend comes and you're like, I'm out of here, I'm gonna go do something else. Or you're still working on your site audits and things like that, but you're not actually on Facebook. So for us, it's not like that at all. So I always really push people to figure out what works best for you. This is a good place to start. So there's this great post on Buffer that talks about like where to start. So if you give yourself a baseline, and then you figure that out from there. So the things I really want to leave you with is, so when building a community, that you actually can set goals, and you can make it a priority. You have to know your people, be consistent, right? You have to be human and care. I said that right up front, right? Be a real person, unless you're a robot, like Roger. And testing and measuring are actually things that you can do to help build that community and figure out when the best times are to actually reach your community. So that is me. Thank you very much.